They say that humans are the apex predators, the smartest species on Earth. We went to the moon, we split the atom, and we invented the internet. But we also have people who think it's a good idea to put a flashlight in their mouth while working on a car battery. Today, we are looking at 13 incredible examples of natural selection hard at work. We have it all, from a man who tried to keep a hippo as a house pet to a thief who stole the wrong radioactive truck. And, I am not making this up, a guy who was literally taken out by his own underwear. So buckle up, lower your expectations for humanity, and please do not try any of this at home. Welcome to the dumbest ways people have ever left the chat. Number 1. We are kicking off this list in Virginia with a story about vandalism, gravity, and instant justice. Meet our first genius. It was late at night, and he was standing on top of a highway overpass. Now, most people use overpasses to, cross the road. But this guy had a different plan.
God, don't go!
He wanted to cause chaos. He found a massive chunk of concrete, part of the old bridge structure that was crumbling. We are talking about a rock that weighed at least 40 or 50 pounds. His plan was simple. Push the concrete off the edge and watch it smash onto the road below. It's a terrible, dangerous thing to do. But physics has a way of policing bad behavior. The concrete block wasn't just a clean stone. It had old, rusty rebar, metal reinforcement rods sticking out of it. It looked like a rock with metal hooks. As he heaved this heavy block over the railing, he didn't notice that one of the metal hooks had snagged his clothes, maybe his belt, maybe his jeans. So he pushes the rock. The rock goes over the edge. And because the rock is heavy and gravity is undefeated, it took him with it. He went for a ride he didn't buy a ticket for. The concrete dragged him over the railing and pulled him down to the street below. The police found him later. The report basically said that the concrete won the wrestling match. It's a harsh lesson, but a clear one. If you try to throw something dangerous at the world, make sure you aren't literally attached to it. Number 2. Next up, let's talk about spring cleaning. It's usually boring, but for one family, it became explosive. A family had just lost their grandfather. They were cleaning out his garage. You know how old garages are, full of rusty tools, old newspapers, and mystery boxes. They found a stash of old, rusty metal tubes and some weird powder. A friend of the family, trying to be helpful, looked at the pile and said, this looks like trash. Let's just burn it. Now, let's burn it is rarely a good sentence when you don't know what it is. They threw the material into a burn barrel in the backyard and lit a match. Here is the plot twist they missed. Grandpa used to make professional fireworks. Those weren't rusty tubes. They were commercial-grade mortar shells. That wasn't dust. It was black powder and flash powder. The stuff they use for the grand finale on the 4th of July. When the fire hit the powder, it didn't just sizzle, it detonated. The burn barrel didn't just melt, it vaporized. The explosion was massive. It leveled the garage, destroyed the backyard, and unfortunately, the cleaner was instantly deleted from the server. The neighbors thought a bomb had gone off. The takeaway? If you find mysterious chemical powders in an old garage, don't set them on fire. Call the bomb squad, or at least Google it. Fire is not a universal cleaning agent. Number 3. We moved to China for a story about romance. Well, toxic romance. We have a young couple. They are arguing. It's dramatic. The girlfriend decides she has had enough. She packs her bag and heads for the door. The boyfriend is desperate. He wants to stop her. He blocks the door. She tries to push past him. He thinks, I need a grand gesture, something that proves she cannot leave. He sees the keys to the apartment or the room. In a moment of pure, unfiltered stupidity, he grabs the keys and pops them into his mouth. His logic was probably, if I swallow the keys, she can't unlock the door, so she has to stay. He swallowed. But keys are made of jagged metal. And the human throat is designed for soup, not brass hardware. The keys didn't go to his stomach. They got stuck, wedged tight in his windpipe. Suddenly, the argument didn't matter anymore. He started choking. He couldn't breathe. The girlfriend watched in horror as his romantic gesture turned into a medical emergency. By the time help arrived, it was too late. He had suffocated on his own drama. He wanted to keep her there forever. And in a tragic way, he succeeded. But probably not how he planned. Guys, if she wants to leave, let her go. Eating metal is never the solution to a relationship problem. Number 4. This next story is tragic, but it is a critical lesson about safety in confined spaces. It happened on a farm. A worker was doing maintenance near a manure pit, basically a giant septic tank. He dropped a tool, maybe a wrench, into the tank. Now, instead of getting a magnet or just buying a new wrench, he decided to climb down the ladder to get it. Here is the science part. Manure pits generate methane, ammonia, and hydrogen sulfide. These gases displace oxygen. It's not just that they smell bad, there is literally no air to breathe down there. The moment he climbed down, he took one breath, passed out instantly, and fell in. A second worker saw this. He didn't know about the gas. He just saw his friend in trouble. Heroically, but foolishly, he jumped in to save him. He took one breath, passed out, fell in. A third worker saw 2 people down there. He jumped in, passed out, then a fourth, then a fifth. It was a horrific chain reaction. 5 people climbed into that tank one after another, and 5 people lost their lives within minutes. It wasn't the fall that got them, it was the invisible wall of poison gas. This happens more often than you think. It's called the rescuer death cycle. The lesson is harsh but vital. If you see someone passed out in a hole or a tank, do not go in. You will not save them. You will just join them. Call professionals with oxygen tanks. Don't be a hero in a place where air doesn't exist. Number 5. Next, let's talk about the Disney princess syndrome. The belief that you can tame wild animals with the power of friendship. Meet Marius Els from South Africa. He was a farmer who adopted a baby hippopotamus. He named him Humphrey. Now, hippos are cute in cartoons. In reality, they are tanks made of meat and rage. They kill more people in Africa than lions, leopards, and rhinos combined. They are territorial murder machines. But Marius didn't care. He raised Humphrey. He fed him apples. He brushed his teeth. He literally rode on the hippo's back while swimming in the river. He famously told reporters, Humphrey is like a son to me. He is just a little human. Spoiler alert, Humphrey was not a human. He was a 2,600-pound, 1,200 kilograms wild animal. Neighbors warned Marius. Experts warned him. Even Humphrey gave warning signs. He tried to chase golfers and killed a neighbor's calf. Marius ignored it all. He loves me, he said. Then, one Saturday in 2011, Humphrey decided the friendship was over. There was no trigger, no provocation. Humphrey just snapped. He dragged Marius into the river, and did what hippos do. It wasn't quick, and it wasn't pretty. Marius was found submerged in the river where he used to play with his son. It's a sad story, but it proves a fundamental law of nature. You cannot love the wild out of a wild animal. A hippo doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care that you raised it. To a hippo, you are either a threat or a snack. Marius learned that the hard way. Number 6. Let's head to Finland, the land of snow, silence, and saunas. The Finns love their saunas. But in 2010, they decided to turn relaxation into an extreme sport. They hosted the World Sauna Championship. The rules were simple. Sit in a sauna heated to 110 degrees Celsius, 230 degrees Fahrenheit, and see who can survive the longest. Just for context, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. A slow-cooked pork shoulder is done at roughly 95 degrees Celsius. These guys were sitting in air hotter than boiling water. It came down to the finals. 2 men, Vladimir Ladizhensky from Russia and Timo Kaukonen from Finland. Both were champions. Both had massive egos, and neither was willing to leave the room. They sat there for 6 minutes. Usually, a sauna is relaxing. At this temperature, it is a biological oven. Your body screams. Your sweat evaporates instantly. Your proteins start to denature. The organizers looked through the glass. They saw something was wrong. They opened the door and dragged the men out. I won't describe the graphic details, but let's just say their skin decided it didn't want to be attached to their bodies anymore. They looked like they had been air fried. Vladimir, unfortunately, succumbed to the heat right there on the floor. The Finnish competitor survived but suffered terrible injuries. The event was immediately, permanently banned. It is the ultimate example of ego overcoming survival instincts. They died for a trophy that nobody remembers. If your sport involves sitting still until you become a medium rare steak, maybe pick a different hobby, like knitting. Number 7. Next, we have a story that plays out like a superhero origin story, but ends like a horror movie. We are in Mexico. A group of thieves spots a heavy-duty truck. They think, jackpot, construction equipment, valuable scrap metal. They hijack the truck. They drive it away to a secluded field to see what they stole. They find a heavy, shielded metal container in the back. Now, if you see a container covered in yellow danger symbols and trefoils, a smart person runs away. But these guys thought, ooh, shiny, maybe there is gold inside. They forced the container open. Inside, there was no gold. There was a medical capsule containing cobalt-60. This is a highly radioactive isotope used for radiation therapies in hospitals. By opening that capsule, they didn't find treasure. They opened Pandora's box. Cobalt-60 is nasty. It shoots out gamma rays that tear apart your DNA like a shredder. The thieves handled the pellets with their bare hands. They probably looked at it and thought, this is boring metal, and threw it in the field. But the damage was already done. Within hours, they started vomiting. Their skin turned red. They felt weak. The police eventually found the truck and the capsule because it was emitting so much radiation. And they found the thieves. They didn't arrest them immediately. They sent them to the hospital. The thieves died shortly after from acute radiation poisoning. It is a slow, painful way to check out. If you steal a truck, which you shouldn't, and you find a glowing canister that hums, do not open it. Curiosity killed the cat, but in this case, the cat glowed in the dark before it died. Number 8. This next story is more tragic than funny, but it is a powerful lesson about respecting the ocean. Meet Cameron Robbins. He was a high school graduate celebrating on a cruise ship in the Bahamas. It was late at night. The party was wild. The music was loud. Cameron, likely fueled by a dare or just the adrenaline of the moment, decided to jump overboard. Now, jumping off a cruise ship is bad enough. The fall can break your bones. The ship can suck you into the propellers. But Cameron jumped into the pitch black ocean at night. The video of this incident went viral. You see him splash into the water. His friends are laughing, yelling at him. He starts swimming. But then something happens. He freezes. He looks at something in the water. And instead of swimming toward the life ring his friends threw, he turns and swims away into the darkness. And then he is just gone. The official report says lost at sea. But everyone who knows the Bahamas knows what lives in that water. That area is infested with sharks, tiger sharks, bull sharks, and sharks are nocturnal hunters. To a shark, a splashing human in the dark looks exactly like a wounded fish. Cameron disappeared in seconds. The ocean is not a swimming pool, it is a wilderness. When you jump into black water 100 miles from shore, you are entering the food chain and you are not at the top of it. Never, ever leave the boat. Number 9. Let's lighten the mood with the story from Germany that is pure slapstick comedy. With a fatal ending, we have 3 geniuses in the town of Schöppingen. They wanted money. Did they rob a bank? No. Did they rob a casino? No. They decided to rob a street vending machine that sells condoms. Because, that's where the real money is. A few coins and some latex. But they didn't bring a crowbar. They brought homemade explosives. They were going to blow the door off. They taped the bomb to the machine. They lit the fuse. The plan was light fuse, run to the car, close the door, wait for the boom. 2 of them made it into the car. The third guy, the driver, was a little slow. Or maybe he forgot to close the door. The bomb exploded. And it worked. It blew the machine apart. But here is the problem with explosions. They create shrapnel. A massive, razor-sharp piece of the steel machine casing flew through the air like a frisbee of death. It flew right through the open car door and hit the driver directly in the head. He was instantly knocked out and later died. The other 2 friends panicked. They drove him to the hospital and told the doctors he fell down the stairs. The doctors looked at the giant piece of metal embedded in his skull and said, "Yeah, I don't think stairs do that." They called the police. The police investigated the scene. The irony, the explosion was so big that the money box was buried under rubble, and the condoms were scattered everywhere. They didn't get a single cent. 1 dead, 2 arrested, 0 profit. It was the worst heist in German history. Number 10. Next, let's talk about a mistake that any of us could make if we were incredibly unlucky. Meet Christopher from New York. He was a DIY mechanic. He was working on his car engine. It was dark, and he needed to see what he was doing. But he needed both hands to work on the engine. So, like many of us have done, he put his metal flashlight in his mouth to hold it. You know the kind, those heavy aluminum mag lights. He leaned over the engine. He got too close to the car battery. The metal end of the flashlight touched the positive terminal of the battery. At the same time, his chest or arm was touching the metal frame of the car, the ground. Or in some versions of the story, the flashlight bridged the positive and negative terminals directly. Electricity loves the path of least resistance. Suddenly, Christopher wasn't a mechanic anymore. He was a conductor. The 12-volt battery dumped hundreds of amps of current through the flashlight. Now, 12 volts usually won't kill you, but a short circuit creates massive heat and an explosion. The flashlight essentially turned into a grenade in his mouth. The battery also exploded, spraying acid. Between the electrical shock through his face and the explosion, poor Christopher checked out instantly. It is a freak accident, but it teaches us a lesson. When working with electricity, don't put metal things in your mouth. Buy a headlamp. It costs $10 at Walmart. It looks dorky, but it won't turn your head into a fuse box. Number 11. Let's head down to the Dominican Republic for a story about ego, peer pressure, and math. Specifically, the math of alcohol volume versus human liver. We are at a nightclub. The music is loud, the lights are flashing. Meet Kelvin Rafael Mejia. He was a young guy partying with friends. The vibe was high and suddenly a bet was placed. A table of people challenged Kelvin. They put $630, about 30,000 pesos, on the table. The challenge? Bet you can't drink this entire bottle of tequila without stopping. Now, $630 is a decent amount of money. But a liter of tequila is a lethal amount of poison. Most people would look at that bottle and say, "No thanks, I like being alive." But Kelvin looked at the cash. He looked at the crowd cheering him on. And his brain said, "Easy money." He grabbed the bottle. The crowd started filming. He tipped his head back and started chugging. Glug, glug, glug. He didn't stop. He downed the entire bottle in one go. It was impressive in a terrifying way. The club went wild. He slammed the empty bottle down. He collected his cash. He was the king of the night for about 10 seconds. Then biology entered the chat. You see, when you drink that much high-proof alcohol that fast, your body doesn't have time to vomit, doesn't have time to process it. The alcohol hits your bloodstream like a freight train. Kelvin collapsed right there on the dance floor. He didn't just pass out. His system completely shut down. He never woke up. The medical report cited alcohol intoxication, which is a polite way of saying his blood turned into a margarita. The darkest irony? The $630 he won? It didn't buy him a new phone or a vacation. It was used by his family to pay for his funeral. He literally drank himself into a coffin for a bet. The lesson here is simple. If someone bets you to drink a lethal amount of fluid, the only thing you are going to win is a Darwin Award. Your liver is not a superhero. Don't test it. Number 12. This next story is weird. It sounds like a fake news headline, but I promise you it is 100% real and legal record. We are in Oklahoma. We have a family dispute. A stepfather and his 33-year-old stepson are arguing. Alcohol was probably involved. Tempers were flaring. The fight got physical. They were wrestling on the floor. Now, usually in a fight, you throw a punch. Maybe a headlock. But the stepson decided to use a move from the elementary school playground. A move known as the atomic wedgie. For those of you who were never bullied in school, an atomic wedgie is when you grab someone's underwear waistband and pull it up, and up, and up until it goes over their head. It's supposed to be a humiliating prank. It's supposed to be a joke. But in this case, the underwear was sturdy. The stepson pulled the elastic band over the stepfather's head and pulled it tight around his neck. Then he left him there. The elastic band acted like a garrote. It compressed the neck. The stepfather couldn't breathe. He suffocated. Yes, you heard that right. A grown man was killed by his own underwear. When the police arrived, they found the victim with a waistband around his neck. The medical examiner confirmed the cause of death: asphyxiation due to elastic ligature. Translation: death by Haynes. The stepson was arrested. He pleaded guilty to manslaughter. The judge sentenced him to 30 years in prison. Imagine that conversation in the prison cafeteria. Inmate 1: I'm here for robbing a bank. What about you? Inmate 2: I gave a guy a really bad wedgie. Inmate 1 scoots away slowly. It is the most undignified way to go in human history. Number 13. Finally, we end with a story that defines the word irony. If you looked up irony in the dictionary, there should be a picture of this swimming pool. The year is 1985. The place? New Orleans. The city decided to throw a party for all the local lifeguards. The occasion? They were celebrating a perfect safety record. That's right. For the entire summer season, nobody had drowned in a New Orleans city pool. It was a huge achievement. So they gathered 100 certified lifeguards at a local pool for a celebration. 200 eyes trained to spot drowning people. 100 people trained in CPR. It was statistically the safest place on planet Earth to go for a swim. The party was great. Music, food, swimming. At the end of the night, the lifeguards started packing up. They cleared the pool, and that's when they saw it. At the bottom of the deep end, fully clothed, was the body of a guest named Jerome Moody. Jerome wasn't a lifeguard. He was a guest. He had slipped into the water, struggled, and drowned. And he did this surrounded by 100 lifeguards. How is this possible? Well, when everyone is an expert, everyone assumes someone else is watching. It's called the bystander effect. Lifeguard A thought Lifeguard B was watching. Lifeguard B thought Lifeguard C was watching. And in the end, nobody was watching. 4 lifeguards actually jumped in to pull him out and tried to revive him, but it was too late. The party celebrating no drownings ended with a drowning. The city was sued, obviously. Jerome's family won a settlement. But the legacy of this story is a dark reminder you are never truly safe just because you are surrounded by experts. Sometimes the safest looking places are the most dangerous because everyone lets their guard down. So even if you're at a party with Superman, Batman, and the Avengers, look both ways before you cross the street. Well, that was a wild ride. If today taught us anything, it's that the line between bravery and madness is extremely thin, and usually involves a hungry hippo or a radioactive truck. The world is a dangerous place, folks. But it is a lot more dangerous if you ignore warning signs, try to pet wild animals, or decide to swallow your own house keys to win an argument. Please, for the love of logic, just listen to that little voice in your head that says, maybe I shouldn't do this. I have to ask, which story was the absolute peak of stupidity for you? Was it the condom machine bomber or the atomic wedgie? Let me know in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious which one made you facepalm the hardest. If you want to stay safe, stay smart, and keep your IQ above room temperature, do me a favor. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. It might just bring you good karma. Stay safe, Don't drink the mystery chemicals and keep your flashlights out of your mouth. I'll see you in the next one.